What is up, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I'm coming back at you today with another sports card investing video. Today, I will be giving you guys my top 5 baseball cards to invest in before the MLB season begins. Before we get underway, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to grow it. I'll be coming out with more sports card investing videos as well as pack opening videos. The cards I'll be talking about today are going to be PSA 10 cards and are going to be a little bit on the more expensive side, generally $60 and up. I will be coming out with another video tomorrow with my top 5 cards under $5, so stay tuned for that video as well. So with that being said, let's get this top 5 underway. So we'll start off with my honorable mention, and that is going to be Milwaukee Brewers second baseman Keston Hiura. So Keston Hiura last year hit .303 with 19 homers and 49 RBIs. He didn't play the whole season. He came up from the minor leagues a couple months into the year and then was eventually sent down and called back up again. So he was very efficient in putting up those stats in limited amount of games. I would be investing in Keston Hiura's PSA 10 from Toss Update from 2019. And his price as of yesterday is $76.98. This is based on eBay sales. So for a couple of these rookies that I am mentioning, I have been collecting their eBay sales data for the past few months, dating all the way back to February 1st. And I've compiled all those numbers and all that data into a graph showing his price changes for each day. And so as you see here, in early February, his cards got as low as around $30. And as spring training went on, people were really getting excited about Keston Hiura, and he saw his card prices shoot up from around $40 to $140, essentially 3x within like 2 weeks or so. And then eventually the pandemic hit, and unfortunately, as a result, his card prices, as well as everyone else, started to fall. And so his prices fell back to around $50. However, I think there is a little bit more anticipation building up again, and we could see his prices go up once again as the season begins. So Keston Hiura currently, his card is around $75. I expect it to eventually get up to $100, maybe more, once he starts playing well. So if you buy it now at around $75, you can expect a 25% return or more, depending on how well he plays this season. So Keston Hiura is my honorable mention. Starting our top 5, at number 5, we have Vladimir Guerrero Jr., third baseman slash first base slash DH for the Toronto Blue Jays. So Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has been a third baseman coming up, but last week it was announced that he will be moving full-time to first base. So I expect him to play at first and DH this year for the Blue Jays. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. last year hit .272 with 15 homers and 69 RBIs. This is a decent year, but there were very high expectations for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. However, he didn't play as well as people thought he would. Despite that, the season and the numbers he put up are pretty good for someone his age and being so young in the major leagues. I think he's going to have a breakout year this season and put up some big numbers once again. Vladdy Jr., in my opinion, is going to be a Miguel Cabrera type player where he's going to be in the Triple Crown contention year in and year out. And so I think it's a good short-term and long-term investment. Short-term, I think you can get a good return on your investment because he's going to play well this season and people are going to get excited once again for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. But I also think it's a good long-term hold because he could very well be a potential Hall of Famer. Obviously, it's too early to tell, but the hype building up around him makes it seem like he's going to be a very good player for years to come. He hit the ball on the ground a lot last year. He had a very high ground ball rate. So I think if he gets his fly ball rate up, those home runs will come, as he is one of the strongest people in the league. So Vladimir Guerrero's PSA 10 for Series 2, it is a short print. Currently goes for about $188. There really hasn't been a trend the past few months. It's kind of been oscillating between $120 and like $180. However, you do see a bit of an uptrend recently, and it'll be interesting to see if he breaks that resistance and crosses the $200 threshold. I think if he plays well, he's definitely going to break past that $200 mark, and he's going to be one of the most coveted rookie cards in the hobby. However, if you are on a lower budget and don't want to spend $190, anywhere above $150 for this card, I suggest you go after the 2019 Topps Update Vladimir Guerrero Jr. card. It is of him throwing the ball from third base. That is viewed as his other flagship rookie card. It is not short printed like the one in Series 2, and therefore it is worth a little bit less. But I think as his Series 2 card grows, so will his update card. So those cards go for about $70 on eBay. So I think if you want, you can pick some of those up and flip them as well. And you can actually go for those raw cards as well of the 2019 update Vladdy Jr. You could get those for like $6 to $8 a piece raw on eBay as well. And again, potentially flip those as well for a decent gain. So I think with Vladdy, for the Series 2 short print, expect the card prices to go up from $180 to around $250, assuming he plays well, and therefore make a good percentage off of that. Next up at number 4, we've got Eloy Jimenez, outfielder for the Chicago White Sox. So there's been a lot of talk about Luis Robert and what he's done in the intra-squad scrimmages, and he's kind of outshined Eloy Jimenez. However, Eloy Jimenez is still quietly one of the future superstars in that league. I feel like a lot of people are kind of overlooking Eloy because he shares an outfield with Luis Robert. However, Eloy has already established himself in the major leagues in terms of his power. He's already put up some big numbers. Last year, he hit .267 with 31 homers and 79 RBIs. And he had an insanely hot stretch late in the year last year where it seemed like he was hitting a home run almost every single day. Eloy's got extreme power potential, and I think his cards are very undervalued right now. As you see on the graph right here, it really hasn't been a huge trend. You can see the prices grew around spring training in March, and then eventually dipped back down after the pandemic hit. So I think his cards are still very cheap at $50 for a PSA 10. So I would pick up some Eloy Jimenez PSA 10 cards right now. And I think by the end of the year, who knows, it could go up to $80, $90, potentially $100, and double your investment. So I would expect it to go from $50 at least to $80 once people realize that Eloy is actually a very good player and a future superstar. He's got a great personality too. He's always having fun on the field and wears his hat sideways and just a big character. So I think he's a cool guy to invest in, and he's got huge power potential. So keep an eye on him. And it doesn't hurt that he's playing in a stacked White Sox lineup with young talent, with Luis Robert and Yoel Moncada, and then also adding on some veterans like Jose Abreu and Edwin Encarnacion, Yasmani Grandal. That team's going to be stacked this year and for years to come once Andrew Vaughn and Nick Madrigal come up. So I think Eloy Jimenez is a great sneaky buy right now. So moving on to number 3, we've got Shohei Otani, pitcher / DH for the Los Angeles Angels. So Otani originally came up as a pitcher and hitter. However, towards the end of his rookie year, he had to get Tommy John surgery, and therefore was only limited to hitting last season. He did hit 286 with 18 homers and 62 RBIs. And this year he is back on the mound and he will be doing both pitching and hitting. The Angels have announced that Otani will start every Sunday for the Angels and will DH the rest of the days. And I think the Otani mania is going to come back. When he first debuted in the major leagues, he was all the buzz in baseball, throwing 100 miles an hour in his starts, striking out batters with filthy pitches, and also hitting home runs at the plate, which he's kind of the first two-way player we've seen in a very, very long time. And it's a very exciting type of player to watch. So this year, now that he's kind of gotten back to doing both, I think his card prices are going to go up once again. They kind of took a bit of a hit last year because he didn't pitch and hit only. However, this year, now that he's doing both, eyeballs are going to be on him and people are going to see what he can do on the mound, see if he can come back successfully from that Tommy John surgery. His cards have gone up recently. They were $80 probably like 2 weeks ago. Now they're up to 100, but I think the sky's the limit for Shohei Otani playing in a huge market in LA, and having that Japanese market as well with all of the fans there watching him as well. And I think Otani is going to do extremely well this year, both on the mound and at the plate, providing home runs for the Angels and really good strikeout numbers and a low ERA for the Angels on the mound. Shohei Otani's cards are around $100 PSA 10. His 2018 update is a more preferred rookie card over his Series 2 card, just because the print run is a little bit lower for the update card and it's not in the complete set. So there's a little more appeal there. And so I think his cards could go up from $100 to conservatively around $150, and potentially up to $180 as the hype builds up for Shohei Otani. So moving on to number 2, I briefly mentioned him earlier, is going to be Luis Robert, outfielder for the Chicago White Sox. If you guys have been watching any of the intra-squad scrimmages for the Chicago White Sox, you have seen the power potential that Luis Robert has. He hit a home run while falling down one day, and then hit 2 homers in one game a couple of days later, and then a couple of days after that, he hit another home run in their intra-squad game. So either the White Sox pitching isn't very good, or Luis Robert is just a beast and has all the potential in the world. I tend to think that, and I truly believe that Luis Robert is going to be the next Ronald Acuna Jr. And potentially reach Mike Trout levels in the future. There's tremendous upside with Luis Robert. You can see his minor league stats here from last year. He hit 328 with 32 homers and 92 RBIs and an OPS over 1,000. The dude also stole like over 30 bases and was just really good all around, power and speed. And so I think he is someone to watch out for. Again, Luis Robert is, his card came out in Topps 2020 Series 2 recently, and therefore there aren't any PSA 10 graded cards yet. So your best luck right now is either trying to buy Series 2 and pull his cards, or buying them raw on eBay. They currently go for around $20 to $25 a piece, which is fairly expensive for someone who hasn't played in the majors yet. But the hype is there, and the eyeballs are going to be on him to see how he performs this year for the White Sox. So I'm a big fan of Luis Robert. I drafted him very early in my fantasy dynasty league. So I think he's going to be a future superstar and potentially reach Ronald Acuna Jr. levels. I expect his cards raw to potentially double this season once he gets off to a fast start. Potentially that $20 investment can turn into $40, $50, doubling it. And if you grade it and it comes back a 10, even a 9, I think is going to go for over $100 on the market by the winter. So Luis Robert, big fan. I think is going to do great things in Chicago. So moving on to the number one card investment for this season, for me is going to be Fernando Tatis Jr., shortstop for the San Diego Padres. So Fernando Tatis last year hit .317 with 22 homers and 53 RBIs. However, he got hurt towards the end and didn't finish the year and missed a good chunk of time, which makes those stats even more scary, as he would have been on pace for a 30-30 season, over 30 homers and 30 steals. Talking about people with Ronald Acuna Jr. Type potential, Tatis is another one of those guys. He is a shortstop for the Padres, and I think the combination of him and Machado on that left side of the field is so fun to watch. And Tatis is such an electrifying player that I think it definitely helps his card prices. His cards are currently going for around $82. I bought a couple the other week for as low as around $60, so they've already started to go up again. However, I do think it can go higher than the $82 it is at right now. So I would expect it to go over $100 and to probably over $125. And I think you can get a pretty good return on Fernando Tatis Jr. Some of his advanced stats were a little worrisome. He had a ridiculously high BABIP, around 400 batting average on balls in play. And the analytics show that the expected batting average for Tatis last year should have been 259 instead of 317, which is a little worrisome. But I do think sometimes there are players who are just so talented that they outplay the analytics and what they say. So I think Tatis is one of those guys, kind of like Javier Baez. Like, he doesn't have the greatest analytics, but he's just so talented and electrifying, such an electric player that he's going to outplay those analytical numbers. So I think Tatis is a great investment right now. Again, $80 right now with the potential to potentially get up to $150 as well in the future. So big fan of Fernando Tatis Jr., and I think is a future superstar. So just to recap the 6 players I mentioned, at honorable mention, I've got Keston Hiura, number 5, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., number 4, Eloy Jimenez. Him and Vladdy have huge power potential. Number 3, the two-way player Shohei Otani. Number 2, the potential Mike Trout or Ronald Acuna Jr. Level player is going to be Luis Robert. And at number 1, Fernando Tatis Jr. So one thing I looked for were power numbers and young players, and it certainly helped if you had power and speed, as those players are generally the most electric players and fun players to watch that really make baseball fun. So stay tuned. I will be coming out with another video. If these cards were a little too expensive for you, I will be coming out with another low budget video and suggesting my top 5 players under $5 to invest in. So thanks for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos.